Welcome, everyone, to a Friday episode of the Call Sheet Podcast here at the Fans First Sports Network. It is our Friday Hot Route episode. Pez is back. We're going to talk all things Super Bowl week, Super Bowl 60. That's a big number. And we're going to talk all things related to the Super Bowl. Welcome, Pez. What's going on, man?
Big weekend, Coach. We got the Waste Management, the Caddyshack PGA golf tournament of the year. People get drunk, yell, throw. You shouldn't throw things at players, but they throw things in the air. Great weekend, huh?
Yeah, my parents are out there right now. They're in Tempe. I know that's a Phoenix event out there. They said that the place gets crazy out there for that one. I mean, that is like the true Happy Gilmore tournament, as far as I understand.
Well, they used to have a tradition where caddies would bet each other on the 16th players would bet each other on the fastest caddy to the green. And I think they were worried about some heart attacks or something, so they called it off. It was a little bit more fun then, Coach. A little more gambling is never a bad thing, but a fun tourney. I'd love to go there. The FFSN, perhaps corporate team. Maybe do a little retreat there next year, Coach, during the Super Bowl
Beautiful
weekend.
Area, man. Very beautiful area.
Hit some small ball. Tough course today. Scotty Scheffler played horrible today. I mean, saying that's like saying Secretariat ran slow. So weird course. Usually it plays pretty easy, and I think it's still kind of wide open there. But we're getting there next year. Let's lock that up, as they say in Pez's pick.
Yeah. Hey, so we'll have plenty of time to talk some golf as we move forward. But it's the last weekend of the NFL season. Super Bowl 60. Going to cover the game from lots of different angles. I'm going to start with this, Pez. I love the Super Bowl because it's a great excuse for me to have a party. Yeah, for years, I would throw a big party. I had a great streak I'm very proud of. I think 10 consecutive Mondays after the Super Bowl, I did not make it into work. I think I was ill. Unavoidable, Pez. Unavoidable illnesses. So, I don't know what happened. It was coincidental. I just didn't feel well those Monday mornings after the Super Bowl. But it was a great excuse to have a party. And I love cooking, so I would do that. Give me your ultimate Super Bowl spread. If we're putting out a Super Bowl spread, what do I have to include?
I mean, if you're at a party, at this point, there's a couple guarantees. There's going to be a bag of Tostitos at the Super Bowl party. That's become the most American chip, Coach. Let's just admit it. The potato chip is now second to the Tostito, okay? And nobody's bringing, there's no rival. It's the Tostito and salsa. That's a lock. Maybe that 5 thick thing dip. That's good in the first quarter. By the third, it just looks bad, right? You're going to have wings, I assume. I mean, this is also an American food now out of that great city of Buffalo. I don't know why, but you have wings. I'm sure there's a pizza. I'm sure there's some sort of, like really well prepared, the paper towel in the bowl, chips and dip variety, which I'm big. I'm a grazer, Coach. I think you have to have grazing food at the bowl if it's a party. At a bar, everything's different. Depends on the bar. What? I know you cook some elaborate meals. It's not traditional, just Super Bowl, wings at your place. You go international.
I do. I go international. I have the staples. I have the staples for the people who do, like, as you said, like to graze. And you're 100% right about that 5-layer dip. By the fourth quarter, that thing looks like somebody threw up into a pot. But it looks cool in the beginning, right? It's one of those things that just gets worse as it goes. But
it's never really good. It's always a letdown. But I eat it. Don't you know me? I'm an eater, right?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of work.
I think it like the dream thing. I've seen on Anthony Bourdain. He traveled the world, but he'd go down to like the bayou, and these dudes have like a giant fire pit on a spit, like a giant pig or some sort of hunk of meat that they slow cook. You got the game on. They're eating crawfish. That sounds like, because to me, this game, Coach, it's not very exciting. I mean, we're betting it, of course, so that's exciting. But 2 done teams in a way. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the game will be great. But to be outside cooking or eating or something, it's something I've never done. That sounds enjoyable.
Yeah. I every year I like to try to come up with a new main dish. That will have all the accompaniments, all the wings and things like that. But one year I made like a ditalini, which is like a ditalini pasta with sausage and broccoli rabe. I made empanadas.
Wow.
I made big giant pots of meatballs, big giant pots of pulled pork. Yeah, it just depends on, I guess, what I'm feeling that particular Sunday. I love the idea though of the Super Bowl as an occasion for people to get together. I mean, there are few events in America that are not family related where you just pull your friends. You just all your friends get together and it's like a last big hurrah because like once the Super Bowl's over, we enter a bit of a sports like black hole for the next couple of months where there's just not really anything until golf and baseball get going in the NBA playoffs. There's just not much going on in February and March. So this is a great time to like celebrate with your family, eat a bunch of good food, have some good drinks, get your friends over. The game, unless you got like a total rooting interest, it's your team, then the game is like a secondary feature.
This is a decent conversation. I think some years that's correct, but a lot of years it's gambling on the game. It's got to be. You got dynasties. You got Brady. I agree with you this year. It's more about your international food you'll be cooking, Coach. Zoolander could attend your party or John Madden. Both would be happy. This is inclusive. This is what I think you're correct about with this Super Bowl. And I think we all can agree these two teams, they're not going to go down as the two of the best teams in the last 20 years of the Super Bowl. They got there, though. And I think both, deserve to. Defense have played well. I think what we're looking at, though, is not which team's going to win this one. I think one of these teams loses this game and has a bad outing. 14 interceptions for Sam Darnold. That's a lot of interceptions, right? May, virtually kind of a rookie. There's bad history there. So an interesting game. And I agree. The food should be interesting. You're not going to go to the game and get some crappy corner pizza. You got to go big. We should have off. This is one thing America should come together with. Federal holidays, Super Bowl Monday. What are we waiting on here? What are we waiting on? It's our sport. I think it's the only one we ever created, isn't it?
When I was first starting this podcast a year ago, I had on as my guest one of FFSN's own, our good buddy Ed, and he's a councilman up near the Philadelphia area in Gloucester. And the Eagles were in the Super Bowl last year, and Gloucester, the school district, did a late opening because they recognized, like, hey, man, people are going to be up late watching the Eagles, and if they win, they're going to celebrate. And let's not have everybody have to get up at the crack of dawn and rush in here. I thought that was a great idea.
It's a true Eagles fan right there. I mean, this guy risks his career, his reputation. He says education's not as important as the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl. But this is the emotion. There has been a lot of late money coming in on New England, Coach. It's come out of nowhere. Maybe that Portnoy guy dumped. Who knows? I mean, that guy might have dumped $5 million on him at this point or something. But a fun game because everybody can bet on it. You bet the game. You can bet on everything. You can bet the Gatorade, the coin toss. You can't bet the national anthem anymore. Apparently, there was a fix in the last time you could bet it. People taped it outside during the rehearsal. Genius, Coach. Probably not cheating there, right? Probably not. I mean, that's the house's fault. They allowed you to do that. So they take that off the board. But block polls, a lot of fun. Half the people are watching the game. You know that. And could you have a party if Pittsburgh was in the Super Bowl?
No, I could not.
Okay.
I would not.
Okay.
The last time the Steelers were in the Super Bowl 45, 2011, I watched it with my wife and family, and that was it. The year before, 2 years before, when they beat Arizona, I had some people over, and in the middle of the game, I had to go upstairs by myself and lock myself in a room. They were annoying the hell out of me. They wouldn't shut up. Why did they do this? Why didn't he tackle him? Why didn't they throw to that guy? And I was like, if everyone doesn't shut up, I might murder somebody. So I had to go upstairs by myself.
And you made some sort of paella, I'm sure. So you earned that, right? I mean,
I have made paella for Super Bowl.
There's no pigs in a blanket going out. You're serving Class A food. Class A food. You can go upstairs if you want. I mean, that's
homemade pizzas. I've made homemade pizzas before. That's a crowd pleaser. I did the controversial Hawaiian pizza with ham and pineapple, and some people, you would have thought that I had wiped my feet on the flag, man. People were very offended by the Hawaiian pizza.
Huge fan of that pie. You got to put the pepper seeds on it. Yeah. Big pie in New England. That kind of pie in New England, it is a very popular thing, maybe even more than traditional just red pie. They'll put seafood, the white sauce, kind of the non-tomato sauce pie. Very underrated, I think. I've become a fan. If you would have given me that when I was a teenager, I'd have thrown it on the wall or something. So I was wrong, Coach. We all can admit we're wrong at times. Those Hawaiians know how to make a pizza, not just the Italians. I got to give it to them. Maybe a little prosciutto is very good on that Hawaiian pie.
Very
Delicious.
good. Very good.
Delicious.
So
who do you like in the
before-
game? I can't answer, Coach. You know, this is my biz, so I've got to keep my actual play private to our website here. But who you liking in this game? We need to.
Who do I like? Okay, let's hold off on that question. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. I want to ask you something first because I got some strong thoughts on this game. I think this is a game that's, for a football nerd like me, is going to be really interesting. Probably not as much for the casual fan. But before we get to that, you're an Eagles fan. I'm a Steelers fan. Both teams have a rich Super Bowl history. Phillies is a lot more recent and current. Steelers maybe a little bit rooted in the past, much to the disappointment of Steeler fans. But still, lots of great Super Bowl memories. Give me your best. What is your single best Super Bowl memory?
I mean, it's a tough one, Coach. Beating the Chiefs was very satisfying. I mean, everybody hates them, right? They're very obnoxious people. We slayed the monster. I mean, it's like beating Tom Brady. But Tom Brady he left, right? So we killed the Chiefs, Coach. We killed them. So that, amazing. I think the Foles Super Bowl was actually more exciting because it was impossible. And that guy played he had a Jesus game at this point, right? I mean, Jesus and Nick Foles were one on that field. I don't think Jesus could have played a better Super Bowl. Yeah, I think that's religious to say. It's honorable, right? He was amazing. And that maybe more exciting, but I think my favorite's going to be beating Patrick Mahomes, and the team was amazing last year. I don't know if we'll ever have a team that good again.
That's interesting. So that was more I guess satisfying for you than Philly winning their first Super Bowl ever in that epic game over the Patriots.
I think it was. I mean, that game, it was magical in a way. I don't even know if we're satisfied. I think we're still celebrating that one. And then the Hurts was like, whoo, been there, done that. You know what I mean? Amazing win, but a little more satisfying because we took the dragon out there. We took Mahomes, Kelsey, Reed. Looked like they're never going to lose. Patriots started to get a little old at that point, I think. So I think the Chiefs win a little bit more impressive. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's what I'm feeling.
I would say for myself, when the Steelers won Super Bowl 40, which we're recording on Thursday night, 20 years ago tonight, the Steelers won Super Bowl 40 over the Seattle Seahawks. That ended a 26-year drought where they had won Super Bowl 14, which was their fourth Super Bowl in 6 years. I was a little kid. I became a Steeler fan as a bandwagon fan. I mean, they won the Super Bowl. The first football game I ever remember seeing was Super Bowl 10. The Steelers won. They won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. I was a little kid. I just figured it was going to be like that. They're going to win it every year or every other year. You grow up, they're always winning it. They're just always going to win it. And then they went 26 years. And those were hard years. Those were my teenage years, my college years, my 20s, when you're like the most rabid as you're going to be in your fandom. And, there was a whole bunch of nothing. So we get to Super Bowl 40 and it's a sloppy game against the Seattle Seahawks. It's a close game. Pittsburgh's winning 14-10 with about 8 minutes to go. And they really sealed the game on a beautiful reverse pass. Willie Parker handing it to Antoine Randall L. And then Antoine Randall L. throwing a dime to Hines Ward for about a 40-yard touchdown to seal that game. And when Hines Ward scored that touchdown, it was like I finally realized they're going to win the Super Bowl. And after 26 years, that was an exhilarating moment.
I feel you. I remember winning money on that game, Coach. I mean, that offense with Hines Ward just seemed unstoppable without having really like a dominant kind of force. Quarterback play was awesome too. I mean, you can't win without good quarterback play. That the Foles win almost seemed, a little bit like people call it fluky. Nick Foles, I got lucky, Blair. The Hurts win over Mahomes and the Birds last year. That felt like we're validated now, right? We're a threat every year to a point you could argue the Buffalo Bills aren't at this point. And even maybe more than the Ravens at this point are going in the opposite direction. So Birds now currently come out fourth, most likely to win the Super Bowl next year. I believe we're at plus 1,300. Number one favorite to win next year's Bulls, Seattle. Then the Bills and the Rams after that. So I like our chances, Coach. I think the Steelers are like plus 6,500. Not too bad. Maybe worth the $10 for you there.
Yeah, $10, sure, man. I would
Sure.
put much more on it than that, but whatever. All right, so yeah, let's talk about this game. Here we are. It's Sunday. Seattle. This line's been pretty consistent. 4.5-point favorite. They're given 4.5. It's been pretty much sitting there. The over/under has been sitting there at 45.5. I'm not. You asked me for what my thoughts are. I'll give you my initial thoughts real quick. I mean, for me, this game really comes down to Sam Darnold. I mean, can he play mistake-free football? You brought up the interceptions. When Sam Darnold, who is an amazing story, by the way, if he wins on Sunday, he'll be the first quarterback in the history of the league to win his first Super Bowl on his 15th. This is his 15th. That's the definition of a journeyman. This is a guy who was written off. This is a guy most of us just forgot he was in the league for a couple of years. And then he resurfaced. And I remember when I was like, last year, Minnesota named Sam Darnold their starting quarterback. And I remember thinking, oh, this is going to be a bad year for the Vikings. This guy is terrible. But obviously he got right, and he's playing some great football, but he still is prone to the occasional mistake. And I think here's the big thing. The Patriots aren't a huge blitzing defense, but Darnold really struggles against the blitz. And so I wonder if that will induce Mike Vrabel to get aggressive. Is Mike Vrabel going to try to heat him up with the blitz and force him into some mistakes? Because I don't think New England is good enough on offense to just sustain long drives. I don't think they're going to have a bunch of 12-play, 70-yard drives. I think they need short fields and explosive plays. And if they can induce Darnold into some picks, they might be able to get it done.
I mean, picks are a death blow. Anybody that's throwing picks is usually going to lose. What's interesting, I agree with everything you said about Darnold, but 14 picks in this new league where you're getting the ball on the 35 or 40, points aren't as hard to get as they used to be not very long ago, where if you threw a pick, I mean, your chances of winning drop, 10, 15%, depending on the situation. 2 picks, forget about it. Now, that's not the game over. You can put points up quickly, especially at the end of a game. We've seen it all year where if you're willing to just kind of let it out a little bit, teams rocket down that field. And Darnold's got a gun. I mean, anybody that plays quarterback in this league has a rocket for an arm like few people in the world have ever had. So it's not like you can't get down the field. And I think Vrabel's playing, Coach. I think this is what's going to happen. This guy's going to put some pads on. He's going to go play linebacker or something. He'll get a sack, I think. He is the coaching advantage, I think, in this game. A guy with a lot of Super Bowl pedigree, been there. This guy's coming to a mojo, and the players know that, right? Like, if I was going to this game, I want him to be my coach. I'd feel a little more confident. So I don't know what the advantage is really going to be. Is it the better team, Seattle, the better coach? We're still punching the numbers. Both teams' defenses are great. But at the end of the day, I feel like the bet you make is going to be who's the bigger fugazi, the bigger fake, where both teams, I think, are a little bit overrated, and their numbers are overrated. And I think the line's indicating that. 4.5 is tough, but it hasn't moved depending on the action. We're at about 65-35 now, action on Seattle to Boston, and probably that'll even out a little bit more. A tough one, Coach. I don't think either team's great at running it, in a consistent way against either defense, but whatever team can run it and not turn it over, I mean, of course, that's who's going to win, right? I mean, I think that's tough.
It's interesting, too, because you look at these two teams, right? Seattle, partially because of where they're located, Pacific Northwest, they don't get a lot of media attention. Most people outside of Darnold and maybe Jackson Smith-Njigba would struggle to name 4 or 5 guys on the Seahawks. New England is already the greatest turnaround story in NFL history. They are the team to reach the Super Bowl with the worst record in the preceding season. They went 4-13, and now they're in the Super Bowl. The previous worst was the greatest show on turf, Rams. had gone 4-12 the year before they won the Super Bowl back in 2001. And now the Patriots go 4-13 and get there the next year. They're also a bunch of no-name guys. I mean, people know Drake May. They recognize Stephon Diggs. But, I mean, they got one of the best defenses in the league. And people, you'd be hard-pressed to name 2 or 3 of their defenders. I think that takes away some of the luster of the game, not having the star power. But at the same time, it also sets itself up to create a great storyline. Sometimes, every once in a while, the Super Bowl creates a legend out of a nobody. Like I think back to Timmy Smith, who was a running back for the Washington Redskins, who in 1989, I mean, this guy was a journeyman running back, and out of got lucky, got a start in the Super Bowl because of some injuries, and he ran for 200 some yards, and he was the Super Bowl MVP. I think if you go all the way back to Super Bowl I, the Packers had a guy named Max McGee, who was a wide receiver, end of his career, 36 years old, slow, injured, drunk the night before, had stayed out late drinking because he was a third string guy. He wasn't going to play. And then the morning of the game, the starting wide receiver slips a disc in his back during warmups, and Max McGee hung over, didn't even bring his helmet out of the locker room. They had to send him back to the locker room to get his helmet. He comes out, he catches 2 TD passes, he's the MVP. So I don't know, this could be one of those Super Bowls where somebody nobody's heard of turns in a stellar performance and becomes famous.
I'm with you 100%, Coach. And perhaps, this McGee fella exposes, maybe there's a theory out there. Some of these guys should go out drinking the night before, right? I mean, maybe help them out a little bit. Some of them look a little tense out there. Maybe they could handle it. That was a little bit more fun football, kind of like a backyard ball there. But it's a different game. It's so controlled. The pace of the game. I mean, you almost don't have to be fit to play the Super Bowl. They take breaks for 5 minutes after every series. So, that's a big part of it. Who's preparing for it? It's going to be amazing. Whoever wins this game goes down in lore. I think sometimes a young quarterback kind of has a little bit of advantage. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks maybe get to the Super Bowl or even win one year 1 or 2. And then when the league gets tape on anybody, it gets tougher, right? The more tape, the tougher. And then maybe like a Darnold, a guy that can learn to kind of beat his own tape and as a backup role, come out and maybe win a Super Bowl, kind of like a Foles. I mean, that guy wasn't too hot in the beginning of his career, and he kind of figured it out, being around the game. So it's exciting. It's an interesting one. As a football coach, you're probably pumped. It's going to take some creative coaching out there to win these. So you're going to need a trick player too, I think.
It is. You're going to see 2 great coaches and great defenses, and the X and O battle over how to get the matchups, right? Like, I'll give you a quick example. Seattle loves to go big personnel, 2 tight ends, because they know it makes a defense defend the run. You'll bring your safety down and you'll load the box, try and stop the run. But then that forces you to cover Jackson Smith-Njigba man to man. And he led the league in receiving yards. He's as good a route runner as you're ever going to find. Well, New England's got a great shutdown corner in Christian Gonzalez. He'll probably shadow JSN. So now you get, who's going to win that matchup, man? If one or the other gets the better of that could turn the game. And so, it might wind up being these games within the game that end up deciding this.
I could see a very conservative early game. Both coaches know, both quarterbacks, you can't let them have a bad start. So it could be a little stalemate. And New England's done this recently in a lot of games, and Seattle's defense is no slouch, maybe the best. So good. Going to be interesting to see who can kind of counter who early. Kind of a little bit like the national championship, a little bit. Miami and Indiana, both teams stacked at the line, looking to kind of probe in the beginning and see an opening. And I don't know. I can't imagine the preparation. Imagine being the coach of one of these teams. What are you doing right now? Wait, you're not sitting down watching Seinfeld, are you? Yeah, I mean, you're not doing that. Who knows? They're watching tape. They're going crazy, I bet, at this point. What are they down there yet? Probably not. I'd probably leave, a week before?
They're now. They're there because they had media day on Monday.
Oh, they did? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah. They've been there about a week, I'm saying, right? So maybe about 5-6 days. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point you just made. I think all the way back to Super Bowl, I don't know what number it was. It might have been 15. Eagles, Raiders. in New Orleans. And Dick Vermeil was the Eagles coach, and he was a real, conservative, buttoned-up guy, and he had the Eagles on a tight curfew. They weren't allowed to go out in New Orleans. He treated them almost like a drill sergeant. Meanwhile, John Madden, actually it was Tom Flores at the time, let the Raiders run wild on Bourbon Street. The Raiders were out till 3 o'clock in the morning partying up on Bourbon Street, and he was like, "Hey, go enjoy yourself. I trust you'll be ready for the game." Showed up, and the Raiders smoked them. You just, you can't be too tight. That's part of the figuring out how to enjoy the experience while at the same time being businesslike is the key.
I mean, that was more fun days. These guys now, they're like scientifically trained. Everybody on that team, I mean, to suggest that they probably get angry at you, right? I mean, it's a entirely different game. It's very data driven and science driven. It's probably safer that way, I'm saying, but it does make it hard to gamble. You don't have as many kind of wild things or mismatches happen, big plays, but I think in the Super Bowl you could have it. Some backup come out there, score 2 touchdowns. Betting on that MVP, you can make a lot of money. This is a tough one though. Who's your MVP of the game?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a great question. You always have to lean towards quarterbacks because they get all the glory. If Darnold has a big game, or even if he doesn't have a big game, if he just plays well and Seattle wins, it's going to be him. Unless JSN goes off. I mean, he could wind up with 10 catches for 160 yards and be your MVP. But I'm leaning Seahawks, and I'm leaning Sam Darnold MVP. And maybe that's because I like to see Sam Darnold win. Look, man, Patriots fans, don't get pissed at me. I don't want the Patriots to win. You had a 20-year dynasty. You should have to suffer for a little bit longer before you win another Super Bowl. It's been a hot minute since the Patriots won the Super Bowl. I can't have them win it.
They're definitely the villain. It's kind of cool to have the villain, though, right? I mean, the villain makes it all fun. Seattle, who doesn't like Seattle? It's a nice place. The grunge music. Darnold seems like a very charming guy, right? How could you not like this? You kind of want the badass. You want the enemy. Vrabel, an ultimate coach of a badass team.
Great villain.
It's fantastic, right? He looks like a villain. I don't know. I don't know who I'm cheering for. I assume there have been tight ends that have won Super Bowl MVP. I don't want to say that, but I'm sure there have been, right? I mean, between all the great tight ends, I don't know. Maybe not. I think both tight ends have a chance.
That'd be a great trivia question. I don't know the answer to it off the top of my head. I feel like maybe like in the 70s there was, but I don't know for a fact.
Kelsey never won one, or Grunt? No.
They love the QBs, Pez. Those
sure
big
do.
glory boys, those glory.
I think both tight ends could be a nice play. Either one of them. I think you're going to have to work the tight end, and you could have a guy maybe score 2 touchdowns, 100 yards in a tight scoring game, maybe. And I like those chances. I think if you're going to put a bet out there, we didn't put this out. We've got a bunch of prop plays out there, but this is just a hunch kind of MVP tight end. I don't know what the return is. It's probably decent, probably 5-6 to 1, maybe better. I'd take both of those for a small wager. Sounds like reasonable to myself.
Tell everybody where can we find all your picks here for the big game?
Pez's Picks on Instagram, and then the official picks are on Pez'sPicks.com. We did put a public one out there. I think this is the wisest bet. The Gatorade color of the game. Plus 200, you have orange, and in the, some people call it yellow. It's green to me, Coach. So red and green, orange, plus 300. Those top 3 traditional. Then blue sneaks in at plus 500. I find that insulting. Nobody's throwing blue liquid on Mike Vrabel. He'd punch you, right? This is our bet, Coach. Plus 800, light purple. Plus 800. Purple's fun. It's a light purple. I've seen it used. Plus 800. I think that's the discount. That's the secret bet of the whole Super Bowl right here. You can pay for your whole party. Go big, Coach. Go big. Not too big, but go big on that.
Is this a great country or what, man?
It's fantastic.
You can bet on the damn color of the Gatorade that gets dumped on the coach.
The color of the juice hitting the grown man.
The founding fathers had in mind, Pez. When they fought for our freedom, they had in mind, damn it, one day we're going to be able to bet on Gatorade.
They're not doing that in Russia. Take that, Putin. All right?
Exactly.
How you like us now, buddy?
You loser.
What a great country. We're betting on juice being thrown on Mike Vrabel, on grown men. It's amazing. Amazing. I can't wait. The commercials, I can't wait. I mean, that, it's a big event and a fun holiday. like you said, everybody's into the game. You got to be into
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, Pez, appreciate it. And, thanks for all your time this football season. It was fun, getting with you every week. We'll do this off and on throughout the off season, but the regular gig with you here was a blast.
Always is, my friend. Always is. The stress ends. I put the bet in on the website today, so it's fun time for us now. We get some time off. You don't have to watch these games and be thinking about your bets and who you're taking next week. A lot of work, and you too, punching plays, getting upset about the Steelers, Mike McCarthy. We don't even want to talk about it, Coach. Forget about it. But good Super Bowl. Hope we have a good Super Bowl.
Exactly. All right, whatever you guys are all out there doing for Super Bowl Sunday, I hope you stay safe. I hope it's a great game. I hope you find an angle that you can enjoy that makes the experience a little better for you. And at the end of the day, man, let's keep cheering on football because we got the combine and then we got the draft and free agency. It never sleeps. We'll be here at the Fans First Sports Network covering it all for you. So for Pez from Pez's Picks, this is Coach Smith. Have a great Super Bowl, and we'll talk next week.